Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka a Day. Today's Shloka is Shloka number 23 of chapter 7. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam Devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam Devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Word for word meaning and translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Antavat, perishable, tu, but, phalam, fruit, tesham, there, tat, that, bhavati, becomes, alpamedhasam, of those of small intelligence. Devan, to the demigods. Deva Yajaha, the worshippers of the demigods. Yanti, go. Mat, my. Bhaktaha, devotees. Yanti, go. Mam, to me. Api, also. Translation: men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods. But my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So the Lord is making clear here. First, the Lord said, if you want to worship the demigods, the faith that is given in order for you to worship the demigods is given by Krishna. Then the Lord said, after worshipping the demigods are so pleased with you that they will give you the results. And Krishna says, those results are also given by me, not by the demigods. So the faith is given by the Supreme Lord. The results of worshipping the demigods are also sanctioned by the Supreme Lord. But here, the Lord is indicating a slight problem with the situation. What is the problem? That if you worship the demigods, whatever results that you get as a result of worshipping the demigods, they are limited and temporary. And why would the fruits be limited and temporary? Because this entire cosmos is temporary. You, this body, is temporary. The demigods in their bodies are temporary. So if you worship something that is temporary, the results that you get out of that worship is also going to be temporary. So the second element that the Lord is talking about here is that whatever you worship, that's what you're going to get. If you have devotion to a particular demigod, then you're going to go to the planet in which that particular demigod resides. If you worship the demigods, your destination is not going to be Krishna's planet. Your destination is going to be the planet of the demigods. So the Lord is drawing a contrast of the results between those who worship him and what is their destination, versus those who worship the demigods and what is their destination. So if you worship the demigods, you'll go to the planet of the demigods. The planets of the demigods are temporary. When destruction has to happen, even the planets and the demigods also are destroyed. But for the devotees, the Lord clearly says that they ultimately reach my supreme planet. So we'll go deeper into the meaning behind the shloka. So it's clear that demigod worship, although it teaches you faith and ultimately can lead you to come to Krishna consciousness, nevertheless, the time that you spend worshipping the demigods, the fruits of what you get is temporary. Therefore, the Lord has consistently used the words alpa medhasam. Alpa means small, medhasam, intelligence here. So repeatedly, the Lord has said in the last 3 shlokas, men of small intelligence, worship the demigods. So because the demigods' benedictions are perishable, the Lord is suggesting maybe you should consider something permanent, like worshipping him. So you could ask a question. If our ultimate goal is to reach the abode of Krishna, why is God giving you faith to worship somebody else? So we can take one more analogy than what we took about a child playing with a little doll and learning to love, show affection, and develop some values in that particular relationship with something that is inanimate. Here, we can take another analogy of our education system. So we have to start with primary school. So the teachers will teach you, encourage you, coach you. But once you've achieved a certain level, the teachers themselves are going to encourage you to move to the next level. They're not going to say, no, stay here forever with me in first standard or second standard or third standard. So even though primary school is necessary, at some point the student will outgrow that primary school and has to keep looking for higher education. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita and the study of the Bhagavad Gita is not meant for primary school students who want to go to heavenly planets. The Bhagavad Gita and the study of the Bhagavad Gita is meant for those devotees who are seeking the ultimate goal and objective, which is to go back to Krishna Loka. So the Lord enables you to perform worship of demigods because your consciousness is not ready to accept him as the Supreme Lord. But for those whose consciousness is already at the level of developing faith in Krishna, then this entire message of the Bhagavad Gita is really for them. But the Lord is also indicating here that even with demigod worship, there are rules and regulations that one has to follow. So just like when we worship Lord Krishna, we glorify Krishna. Similarly, when we worship the demigods, we have to glorify the demigods. But the acharyas say the best way to glorify the demigods is to glorify them in their service of the Supreme Lord Krishna. We should glorify them as great servants of Lord Vishnu. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visits a temple of Lord Shiva in Orissa, he promptly composes what is called the Sikshastakam. And in those 8 verses, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is glorifying Lord Shiva as a devotee of Lord Krishna. So glorification is a necessary process of worship, is a necessary aspect of devotion. So even with demigods, we have to glorify them. But the topmost glorification that the demigod accepts and pleases them most is that they are also devotees of Lord Krishna. So if you worship the demigod, the result is different. If you worship Krishna, the result is different. So in Shloka 19, Krishna referred to those 4 pious type of people as Jnanavan, very intelligent. But for those who are not that intelligent, Alpamedhasam, therefore they worship the demigods. So the Jnanavans are ready to surrender to Krishna. The Alpamedhasam are ready to surrender to something else other than Krishna. So this is the essence of the shloka. But now one intriguing thing. Right after speaking the Bhagavad Gita, right before the war actually started, Krishna and Arjuna spot goddess Bhadrakali in the sky overhead. You have to remember, even the demigods were listening to the Bhagavad Gita. At Krishna's direction, Arjuna worships Bhadrakali and seeks her blessings for victory in the war. Because Mother Bhadrakali is responsible for destruction that's under her jurisdiction. So you could ask, why did Krishna, after saying in the Bhagavad Gita, those who worship the demigods are their Alpamedhasam, why is Krishna encouraging Arjuna to worship Bhadrakali if he's already said that worship of demigods is for the less intelligent? To understand this, we have to look at the 3 factors that Krishna has already covered in the shlokas that we covered earlier. One is worshipping the demigods, the results are temporary. Ultimately, all of the desires that are granted is actually being granted by Krishna. The third, if you're worshipping the demigods, it means that your knowledge is stolen. But what kind of knowledge is stolen? What is the knowledge that the worldly desire steals away from you? The knowledge that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Hence the Lord says in Shloka 19, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Those who are Jnanavan know that Krishna is the source of everything. So how do you understand why Krishna asked Arjuna to worship Mother Bhadrakali? Because you see, demigods are invested with certain powers in certain jurisdiction. And the Lord does not interfere with that. Those jurisdictions are actually given by the Supreme Lord himself. So Arjuna was serving Krishna by following his instructions because he needed certain celestial weapons and therefore he had to worship different demigods to get those celestial weapons for the sake of winning this battle. Because different things are under different devatas' custody. And knowing that Arjuna, by worshipping the demigods, will not move away from Krishna, Krishna urges Arjuna to worship Bhadrakali. Just giving us an example of what religious piety means, even for those who are not ready to accept Krishna as the Supreme Lord. So that is the essence of the shloka and some intriguing facts behind it as well. If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.